Can I steal you for a minute?
Steal you for a minute?
Can I steal you for a minute?
Welcome to Can I Steal You for a Minute, the reality dating recap podcast. That was a mouthful today. My name is Indra Raj.
And I'm Mary Bianco.
And it's our last episode of 2024.
Crazy. Yay!
It's actually so crazy. Like, we started...
in January.
What? In January?
Mm-hmm.
That is wild. I actually, remember when I was, texting you, I was like, I want to start this podcast.
Yeah. I was,
It was
so
about a year.
honored.
And oh my gosh, it's been so much fun. So it's an exciting time.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a lot to talk about today. We have two shows.
Yeah. We have 5 episodes of the Ultimatum to talk about.
Is that true? Yeah, I think
because we
so.
have 3 through 8.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's like the old saying, it's like a car accident. You just cannot look away.
I'm mad the whole time I'm watching. I'm sad for people. I'm entertained. It's I just feel everything. And then Nick and Vanessa show up and it's such a jump scare. It's what are you guys doing here?
Yeah. Literally, why aren't these people actually in couples therapy?
One should get engaged.
No, literally no one should get engaged. We'll talk about our predictions, but just before we get into it, okay, so we're talking through episode 8 of The Ultimatum today, season 3. And because this is dropping on Wednesday, December 18th, that means they just dropped the last 2 episodes of the season, which we aren't talking about today because they're not out when we're recording. So, and unfortunately, we aren't going to be recording again until early January. So we will talk about it.
Of course. Of course.
And we will definitely, Mary her memes are on fire. So we will be memeing about it.
Yes.
So if you want to get a preview of how we're feeling about it, you can definitely do that on Instagram at Can I Steal You for a Minute Pod.
Yes.
So we're going to do that. And then we're going to talk through episode 26.
I think so.
Love Island, Australia. And Mary got spoiled.
I did. I literally opened our Instagram and the first post was a picture of the winners.
That is so fucked up.
I mean, I knew it was risky to continue following the Love Island Australia account, but I was just kind of whatever happens. But
right.
It was crazy. The first post, I could not avoid it if I tried. And it had a banner in the front that was your Love Island 2024 winners and just a picture of the winners. I'm
you couldn't even try to ignore it.
No.
So here's a petition.
Yeah.
Love Island, franchise wide.
Yeah.
We are invested in the U.S. The U.S. is a world superpower.
For now.
Yeah. Well, things are not totally have gone to shit. While we're a little bit, things are shitty. So whatever. But we just give us the episodes when they're actually airing.
Yeah.
Can you do that? We know this is 2024. The World Wide Web allows us all to watch everything at the same time.
Yeah. Come on, Joe Biden. Last thing you can do for us. Give us.
Well, because what is the reason that is it there's no good reason. Is there some sort of there's no law in place?
I don't understand it. It's almost we don't have reciprocity with them or something. Because I guess we don't give them our Love Island on time. But I'm hey, let's give them our Love Island on time.
Let's just share, everybody. It's good for everyone.
It's good for the economy.
I don't care if I can't vote. I don't care if I can't be a super fan. I just want to see it at the same time because in the age of social media, if you want to keep up with these things, and that's the whole premise of the whole show is that it's live and you're keeping up with everything and whatever. It's a whole universe. If you can't do that and you get spoiled on things, if we weren't doing this podcast, Mary, you might just stop watching the show.
Yeah, I'm already getting to the point where I'm a little bit bored of Love Island. I think
right.
That's actually not true. We start the episodes that we're going to talk about today with with some interesting things, and then
Right.
it just kind of like fade. It's starting to fade. It's getting to the point where it's like, okay, wrap it up. Like, let's
Yeah.
get to the end. And I'm kind of like, I would have just stopped and just
Yeah.
watched the clips on YouTube, on TikTok when it came up.
Yeah.
Also, as a podcast and a meme account, we really
Yes.
would like to watch things on time so that we could
Yes.
like interact with that audience on
I
time.
know. I feel like it's not even worth doing memes for
No.
Love Island that's not in the States, because it's like,
Yeah.
been there, done that. Like, the story's over and we're on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So again, it's like we live in an international world community now. Like, just give us the episodes
Give
on
it to
time.
us. I know, because All Stars is coming.
Oh my God, when does that start?
I think
February?
January. They just started putting up.
Oh,
They just
hell
started putting up
yes.
ads.
Do we know who's on it?
I've only heard Ekin-Su is confirmed.
Oh my God, Ekin. I mean, we love Ekin-Su.
Let's see. Here we said we were going to talk about the Ultimatum first, but we can't resist Love Island.
No, I need to know. Okay, Love Island.
Let's see.
All-Stars.
January 13th.
Oh shit, that
Yeah.
is so soon.
But who knows when we'll get it?
Okay, well, in the 1 week that we have in between things, well, I'll talk about this later because I have a recommendation for a show.
Ooh, fun.
Because, well, anyway, we'll see.
Okay,
Okay,
Ekin-Su
but we
is.
are going to talk about the Ultimatum because we got to talk about this shit.
Yeah, we have to talk about it. Ekin-Su is the only person confirmed.
Okay, well, she's a big draw.
She's a big deal. Okay. The Ultimatum. So we left off, JR's decision was up in the air. I was surprised he picked Sandy.
Wait, is that how it works? Okay, wait a minute. Okay, so I've never seen this show before. When they drive up in the limos.
Oh, no, what I'm talking about is where we left off from talking to people last time. No.
I'm like, let's just fast forward. Like, what's happening?
You guys watch on YouTube for the panic on Indra's face when she thought that I was like spoiling the show for her.
No, I was ready to get into it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Because that was so funny because the last time we chatted, you were like, he's not going to pick Sandy.
Yeah, I thought he was going to pick Arya for sure, but I should have known.
Yeah. No, he was really into Sandy.
Yeah.
And still is at the point that we're at. Like, I think he cares about Zaina too, but I think there's something about Sandy that he wants.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. I feel like what's been revealed with JR, like he's had like a whole arc in this show. Like, I still don't appreciate some of the comments he made, you know, about women in terms of their racial identity and kind of essentializing them in the beginning. I think it feeds into this now that we've seen him through 5 more episodes, like, and interacting with her and like going through the stuff with Sandy and then reuniting with Zaina and, you know, seemingly finding like a new connection with her. I'm like, JR, he's just a simple dude.
Yeah. I think he's like an awkward guy.
Yeah.
Who was kind of flexing for somebody else. And like wasn't realizing that what he was saying wasn't landing with Micah and was just kind of like trying to sound cool. And then we see him with Sandy and I'm like, I actually do think this makes a lot of sense. Like I kind of think they're on the same wavelength about a lot of stuff. And
what, him and Sandy?
Yeah, I think him and Sandy could be together.
Okay. Whoa, this is wild. This is wild. Okay. But what do you make of Sandy literally telling Zaina there's no intimate connection at all? Like, this is just a friendship. I mean, I think Sandy's just been putting on a front with JR.
I kind of thought the opposite. I thought she was trying to be like girl, buddy with Zaina.
Right.
To not have it like interfere with their situation at all, because Nick has already come to their door,
right,
banged down their door being like, what happened between you two? Like, I need to talk to you. And I think she was just kind of like, I don't want any more distractions. And so she's like, let me just tell Zaina that this is like just friendship, because I don't think it was just friendship. Like they were calling each other babe. They were kissing every single night before bed. They were really I don't know. I just thought maybe just because I hate Nick so much that I would want Sandy to be with.
I mean,
JR.
If you were like watching this show with no sound and you watched the body language between Sandy and JR and Sandy and Nick in their trial marriages, what would you think?
I would think that Nick was like severely depressed and Sandy just had to comfort him all the time and that she wanted to fuck JR.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I don't know. I feel like maybe that's true.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that like she is more connected to Nick, for better or worse.
Well,
like,
yeah.
I know Nick's is terrible, and like we don't like Nick.
His art is so bad.
There's something about he has like such nervous energy, and like I don't mind an emotional guy.
No,
like
me
I
neither.
prefer an emotional guy, really. But it's more like he's just like not in control of anything
Yeah.
in his life, and you can see him like drifting.
Mm-hmm.
And when she was like, it's hard for me to get you to even like come sit on the couch with me. I'm like, ooh, that's not good. Like those are the types of things that are not going to work long term. And that's, I think, where she is seeing, like, I think Sandy looking at pictures of puffins and losing her mind is like related to her. I think she knows she's not going to be with Nick anymore. Like I think Sandy's gonna leave single.
I think it's probably like more than likely leave single. Like, yeah, I think that if anything, the relationship with JR has made her realize how much Nick is holding her back. Like,
yes,
she can't go have fun the way that she wants to because Nick will be upset at home, and she can't hang out with friends. She can't want anything different from Nick. He's unable to emotionally regulate himself at all.
Right.
And he's 38 years old. And he said, well, we have to talk about episode 4 and everyone just leaving because I think that's still the craziest thing.
Oh yeah, no, we have to talk about that. Okay. But let's finish this little thing.
But he's talking to Mariah and he's saying, I can see what happened with Sandy is what happened with my last relationship where I just get like super emotionally withdrawn and I can't just expect people to love me through it. I really have to work on it. And it's like, okay, it's great to say that, but like he doesn't do it. Like Sandy's telling him all the things he needs and he's almost falling asleep while she's talking to him. Like he's just slow blinking at her. He wants to be done with the conversation. He leaves the room after the conversation. Like he is a child. He cannot. Yes. He's like a trust fund baby, and he's like even the way he paints is like a child. Like he's like tossing his paintbrush
and like a trust fund baby.
And like a trust fund baby. He paints like a trust fund baby where he's like so aggressively pressing his brush on the canvas and like it's just black paint and it doesn't mean anything and it's hearts and it's like
no. Well, okay, here's the thing. Like I actually unexpectedly find myself really liking Sandy.
Me too.
I think she's wise beyond her years. Like she's 27 and seeing her through this. One thing she said that like really I could see it with her, which she feels like she's taking care of everyone else 100%. And this is why I think JR is not the right person for her because JR needs to be taken care of too. Yeah. It's kind of in a different way, but it's like the minute Zaina locked into like, what is it that you need? Tell me about your past more. Let us like connect on this. His whole demeanor changed. He needs safety. He needs to be taken care of by someone because he didn't have that as a child. Yeah. Sandy is used to being in that role and she was doing that. She definitely does that for Nick on Overdrive. And she was doing that with JR, like in little ways, like the laundry and like little things like that. And I think now in this situation where she needs to make a decision and she knows she wants out of her real relationship with Nick, she's again trying to take care of him a little bit instead of her own feels. And I really feel for her. Like I do. I want her to be happy, and I think she's a young, accomplished, strong, beautiful woman. She'll be fine. Yeah. But it's very hard to detach yourself, and for better or worse, she does love Nick, which is admirable. Like you should love the partner that you came there with. Yeah.
No, you definitely shouldn't like hate them, which some of them fully hate the person that they're with. Like I think a lot of times on the show we see people say that they're, oh, I'm such a caretaker. I never put myself first. And I feel like Sandy's like genuinely one of the first people that like, means it. And it is true. And we can see that. And like, she just seems exhausted. Like,
she seems so tired.
Crying over the puffins is like
the puffins.
Me, epitome of me at the end of like a shitty day, and someone asks you for one more fucking thing. You know, like it's just like it's that tipping point where it's like I didn't want to cry, but it's like okay, I'm actually not crying because of the puffins, but the puffins are so cute that they tip me over the edge. Like I understand that wholeheartedly.
Oh my gosh, I know. And it's just like, I mean, they didn't like really tell us what Nick did. But the night that he finds out they've kissed 2 times and like leaves and whatever, I mean, something bad happened. And with all the like the texting and stuff, like I feel like he said some things to her that were really not okay. Yeah. Because there's just some stuff that's like they haven't shown us. We don't really know what it is, but she's not able to let go of it. And
she's scared of him, I think. She's a little bit afraid of his like emotional response. Like, right. Because that, I understand it sounds stupid because it's like, well, Nick is really her boyfriend, but it's like, if you're playing along with this experiment, we are broken up. You cannot come to my house at 3 a.m. and demand to speak with me. And that was when I really liked JR. And I was like, at least this is somebody who can like kind of step up for her. But like, yeah, Nick, and then the way he cried, I would be extremely scared to have a confrontation with that person because you just don't know what they're going to do next.
Yeah. I mean, he's not, and he's just doing the typical, like, I'm going to change. I know who I am now, like whatever. And it is true. Like he didn't get the chance to be in a real trial marriage through this, which was fucking wild. So we can talk about that next. But I don't know. Like the way he handled it and the way Mariah handled it, like, okay, totally different situations here.
And Mariah is 14 years younger than Nick. It's like that just goes to show like and Mariah
age is just a number in a lot of cases.
And Mariah has like had real adversity. Right. Nick is, I mean, to his credit, he shared the meme that I made about like, this is the hardest day of my life. I've not had a very hard life so far. Like, I can appreciate
kudos to you, Nick. Way to see yourself.
But like, I think it's so clear, like men do not have to grapple with emotion at all. And here's Mariah, who's 24 years old and has this crazy amount of wisdom and like very balanced way of talking. And like, thank God this show didn't force her and Nick to then live together after everybody left. Oh my God,
no. That would have not been good. And honestly, when they had the girls' night and Mariah said to Sandy, like, I don't think Nick
is a good husband.
Will be a good husband. I think Sandy really listened to her when she said that.
I think Loudon, that was a very clear thing. And I think Sandy, it must have felt good to have it confirmed by somebody else.
Yes.
And somebody as calm as Mariah, because she's not there to stir shit up. She's just there to tell you like what's going on.
No, because she has no skin in that game either.
She's
like
literally
Nick at all. None. Like there's no reason for her to say that. Like you can tell like just off the bat she's more connected to Sandy than Nick.
Yeah.
And she was looking out for her really in that situation. And she's totally right. Like Nick is just fucking immature.
Yeah.
He's never gonna be, he's not right for her. Sandy deserves so much better.
I agree.
Like, and I really expected to like dislike Sandy, and I have totally done a 180 with her.
100%. I think because she looks like Jess, who we're not the biggest fans of.
Right. It sort of messes me up a little bit. Yeah. Like, I don't hate Jess either.
No, but she's not my favorite girl.
I don't love the girly aspects of both of them. But like, I don't know. In this show, you do get pretty deep with these people. Yeah. Like you get to know them pretty well. And especially because 4 cast members left. Okay, so we have to talk about that now.
This moment of the surveillance camera of them sneaking out should get an Emmy.
God.
It was unbelievable TV.
I know. I was locked the fuck
It
in.
was crazy. Like when Dave moved the security camera so it wouldn't see him sneaking out, it's like, what contract are these people under that they literally have to leave in the middle of the night? Like they can't leave during the day.
So do you think that, like, remember the text? It was 3:17 a.m. It's burned into my skull exactly what time it was. Do you think production texted both of them?
Being like, get out?
Be like, come meet us at this Starbucks.
Maybe. Like, because it was all four of them that met up, right? It was like, it was Vanessa and Dave and Chanel and Micah.
Yeah.
So, and Micah was with Mariah. Dave
and that was clearly...
That was just platonic.
It was so fucking awkward.
It was so uncomfortable. They couldn't even talk to each other. Like, I think Micah was like, oh, I really blew it, like with Chanel. Like, I gotta get her back. And then, you know, Dave and Chanel were together and they had nothing in common either. Like, you know, Chanel went for multiple walks in the middle of the night to clear her head. And Dave was like, do you want me to go with you? And she was like,
like, I was supposed to take care of you. Like, be safe.
God. Yeah, because Micah was like, if she's safe, you're safe. If she's not safe, we're like, you're not safe.
Right. We got issues.
But she was probably going to meet Micah anyway.
Right.
And then Vanessa.
Oh, she definitely was. Like, that was implied. Yeah.
And then Vanessa was going to meet with Nick.
Dave.
With Dave, yeah.
See, that part I was surprised about. When they were just like words on the screen, Dave and Vanessa are leaving. I was like, wait, what? Because they were making it seem like Nick might be the one who would leave.
Yeah.
But then, like, 180, it's Vanessa.
I think Nick scared Vanessa. I think
she didn't like it.
He was really, really emotionally intense. He was talking about having met her in a past life. And I think it was just too much for her. And
I don't think she liked his reaction to seeing Sandy in Starbucks.
No.
And learning about the kiss either. Like, stuff with them was like, it was so weird because it seemed like they were going to be the strongest new couple.
Yeah.
And then it was just like over.
And like, I really think that Nick needed that week alone. I don't think it changed him as much, but I'm just glad that a woman was not stuck in the apartment with him while he's just stewing and throwing a tantrum over Sandy.
God. Like, no, like, Vanessa didn't deserve that. In a way, the two couples, like, absolutely Micah and Chanel, like, should have never been there. Like,
no.
I really hope they're still together and everything's good.
It seems like it. They've been posting each other a lot. So I actually shared some DMs with Micah.
Oh. Ooh, okay, tell me.
And I just said, I died watching the footage. Glad you snuck out. And he said, had to get up out there. And I said, it's a horrible place to be. That the whole time we were thinking you and Chanel should leave. He liked it.
Okay, so he can't say too much, but
no.
I mean, those two were so in love. Like, it was just so clear.
They immediately missed each other. Like, and I think that they realized that a lot of these people are there because they don't have the courage to break up with their partner.
Right.
And that's not
such a huge part of this.
That's not Micah and Chanel. Like, I think Micah and Chanel came there for answers on if they should be together or not. And they literally got them in 24 hours. Like, they were like, we should be together. Vanessa and Dave, I don't know. I doubt they're together because they have not posted at all.
They didn't seem like they should be together. Like, Dave kind of wanted out of the relationship and then wanted back in when he was feeling insecure about no one else liking him.
Dave was like, wait, this isn't fun.
Yeah. And then Vanessa was just, who knows what Vanessa was like.
Vanessa.
It was hard to get a read on her. I feel like I barely know her after watching all these episodes now.
She was barely there. She just reposted one of our memes from
Which
this
one?
batch. The one about Nick, I'm not trying to love bomb you. Also, Nick, I was in love with you on day one. She reposted that.
Well, I guess that's relevant to her story.
Yeah. She's going to the reunion.
So there is going to be a reunion?
She just asked on her story if she should spill all the tea at the reunion. And I voted yes, obviously.
Okay. So we will. Oh my. Okay. I have to say, I went into this show with negative 50 expectations.
I didn't help.
And I am riveted. I am obsessed.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's so trashy, and like more than that, it's like I feel wrong for engaging in this terrible experience. Like, this is really not okay. Like, it's really not cool for Nick and Vanessa to be giving any of these couples any advice and putting them through this. Like, this is literal torture.
Yeah.
Like, they could have just gone to couples therapy.
And that's the theme of so many of these shows, isn't it? Right. It's like everybody should have just gone to therapy instead of getting a tattoo. That's not the thing that we wanted to get.
I was gonna say that was okay. Mary's latest batch of memes, so good. That one, especially about like, men will do anything to avoid therapy, including getting the wrong tattoo, which ends up being the same tattoo as your nemesis in this situation.
That's a Freudian slip if I've ever seen one. Like, that is
poetic
crazy.
Justice. It was amazing. Like, I actually was like, this cannot actually be happening. Like, this has to be a producer stunt somehow.
And he's now marked forever by JR. Like, he will never, ever escape JR.
You know what? He deserves it.
He deserves
That's how
it.
I feel.
It's
about
what he
that.
deserves. Like,
yeah.
It really is.
Okay. So is there more to say about Sandy and Nick? I think we should talk about JR and Zaina next.
So we got to talk about Scotty and Jane and Zaina.
And Zaina. Okay. Just in case anyone's wondering, Scotty is not our favorite person.
No. And I know I said I hated Nick. I actually am in love with Nick compared to how I feel about Scotty.
So Mary and I were texting earlier about like just how despicable Scotty is. And you were like, he's worse than Taylor from Love Island, Australia. And I've been thinking about this all day. And I think I agree because Taylor is just an idiot.
Yeah.
Like, he's dumb as a brick. Like, whatever he's doing, he's just like so dumb. Scotty is very smart.
Yes. And
like in a like purely like, he's manipulative. He is good with his words. He can like, he's a smart dude.
Yeah.
Which makes his like diabolicalness more diabolical.
Yeah. He's so Taylor is like mean in like a college bro way, like teasing girls. Scotty is like, when I'm watching these shows, Ethan's like on his phone playing chess and then watching like football or something on his laptop. And then the show, I'm the princess, so I get the main TV, so we're watching the show on the main TV. He's like barely paying attention. And so I don't think he's like clocking it.
Right.
And Scotty, when he told Zaina that she was too old and it was time to hang up her drama jersey, Ethan was like, oh, this guy's evil. Like, he was barely paying attention to the show. It was like, this guy's evil. Like, there's something wrong with this man.
Well, just the energy. And actually, like, if you go back to the first time we meet Scotty, which is before they even start this whole thing, like, he's in the bathroom with Arya when she's doing her makeup and he's like sitting there talking to her. I was like, this dude has like really intense dark energy. And he was like coming at her even then in a way that was like, I can't describe it. I think anyone who's seen it can like feel it. And what I really like, there's so many things I dislike about him, but one of the things I dislike the most is how he keeps hiding behind this, I'm the one who issued the ultimatum.
I know.
And it's like, Scotty, just because you were the one who issued the ultimatum does not mean that you get to sit here and be a fucking dick to everyone around you and make all these demands and belittle every woman you're with. It doesn't give you a leg up in the situation.
No, and to act like you have all the answers because you've decided you're ready to get married. I'm like, this lack of compromise and self-awareness like indicates that you are not ready to get married at all. Like, he's so quickly like, will go from 0 to 100 in terms of being mad. And he's like sneaky about the way that he's being mad. Like one small thing. He suggests to Zaina that they go on a date.
Mm-hmm.
And his 2 date ideas are either a hot air balloon or cryotherapy. 2 very specific experiences.
Right.
And she goes, well, I want to do something fun with you, but not those things. And he goes, well, if you don't want to get taken out, just say that.
Oh my God.
Those
like,
2 ideas.
I'm so glad you brought that up because that was one of the first times we see him sort of like turn with Zaina.
So quick.
And it was just like he's always coming after Arya for being like, you get so defensive, you can't take whatever. And it's like, dude, look in the mirror. Like, you cannot handle someone challenging you at all.
No.
In any way whatsoever. And it's turning you like it's so icky. Like, I don't know. It feels so hard to watch.
Yeah.
And like, I'm just thinking about like the only reason Arya's been able to put up with this for 3 years is because they don't live in the same city.
Exactly.
Like, I really think that's the only reason that relationship has lasted for as long as it has.
No, I totally agree. And I'm like hoping that I really hope that they're not engaged because he's scary. Like when he comes back from the bar after hanging out with the boys and he's just staring at Zaina from across the island in their kitchen and she's like, what is wrong? And he's like, yeah, nothing. She's like, what is wrong? And
she's
then
like, something is wrong.
something's off. And then he's like, well, JR said someone told him that I said he was just here for a hall pass. And she's like, I didn't say that. And I don't appreciate you accusing me of that. And he's like, I'm not accusing you. It's like, that's an accusation. And then he
a gaslighter.
Did it again when he was like, when you go to the bathroom at 1 a.m, you bring your phone with you on the toilet. Clearly you're texting. And she's like, what are you accusing me of? And he's like, I'm not accusing you. Don't get defensive. Don't get defensive.
I know. It's classic, like literal definition of gaslighting.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing is like, he was so mad after that night. Like, it wasn't even like about her really. What the issue he was really having was whatever was going on between him and JR.
Yeah.
But he needed to like take whatever he was feeling uncomfortable about and put it on someone else. And so he put it on Zaina.
Yeah. Nick and Scotty are both extremely threatened by JR. Like for whatever reason, they're both really threatened by him and take it out on the women because both of them are physically smaller than JR and like JR looks like he can fight. So like I would not challenge JR either. But these men in 2 different ways take their feeling threatened by another man out on these women in a way that's so disgusting and awful. Like when Scotty just looks at Zaina with a smile on his face and he goes, you're painting a really ugly picture of yourself right now. He sincerely thought people at home were going to be like, wow, Zaina looks terrible. I'm glad Scotty said it. Like,
it's so true. Like, it's also like, what possesses you to say that? Like, you're so, obviously you're going to be aware of the cameras that are there and whatever, but like, I don't know. It just, everything about him is like, it's like wrong reasons, gaslighting, totally not ready for like any sort of real commitment, hiding behind this, I made the ultimatum, so that means I'm the one who's ready.
Right.
And you're not. It's like, it doesn't give you an excuse to not work on your shit.
Right.
Because you have a lot of shit you need to work on.
And like, everyone, including Nick, who's throwing a tantrum, have at least acknowledged that they have things to work on.
Right.
Scotty has not done that at all. Like, and
he
like,
said a couple things.
Yeah.
Where he was like, I recognize a couple things, but it was so hollow the way he said it.
Yeah. He's like saying to Zaina, he's like, thank you for being so solution oriented. And it's like, he only says that to her when like she apologizes. Like I'm glad that she stood up to him and was like, what's wrong with you? Like, you cannot just act this way towards people. And she clearly wants nothing to do with him. I just feel like we see 2 different Aryas. Like, the Arya with Caleb for that whole week was so like light and free and openly sharing.
Gosh.
And then Arya is crying constantly when she's with Scotty. Like, beat down
constantly
by him.
Her whole countenance, like, I actually think Arya looked prettier when she was
Yes.
with Caleb. Like, don't get me wrong, Arya is
No, she's
fucking,
gorgeous.
like, stunning. Like,
I mean, as Scotty said, there's never been a heterosexual man that doesn't want to sleep with Arya. So
right, I know. I actually think about that like all
it was
the
insane.
time.
That was an insane thing to say to someone.
It was, yeah. And like it's probably true.
Yeah. But if Caleb wants to say that they're just friends because they haven't been physically intimate at all, then just let him say they're just friends. Like, who cares?
Right, like Scotty. No, okay. So do we shift to Arya and Caleb? Okay, and then we can go back to Zaina and Jr.
Yeah.
Jr. I am obsessed with Arya and Caleb.
Listen, Mariah, I'm so sorry. You're a great girl.
Mariah, you're really nice.
I'm not coming back from watching how Caleb and Arya were together.
Oh my God. I'm thinking back to like the first bar night when they were dating still.
Mm-hmm.
And this is also fucking Scotty. Scotty started his gaslighting then when he was fully holding Zaina's hand at that bar.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then proceeds to tell Arya he wasn't after she breaks down. Arya like loses it, goes into the other room, and Caleb goes over and gives her a hug and like just like he's like, yeah, I think Caleb's been interested in Arya from the start. Like, I think he finds her really attractive. Like, I think he was excited about it, but I also think he was just like, I'm going into this like protecting Mariah and our relationship at all costs. So like, I'm not going to compromise that, but he also like did let himself go as much as he could in this situation to like get to know Arya. And like, especially after you see two other couples just straight up fucking leave.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, there's no way he didn't think about that himself, especially knowing that Mariah was then by herself, right?
Yeah. I think that he could have really shut down because his ex was now by herself, and like Mariah is very sensitive, and like he's sensitive too, and so I know that he was worried about her, but I think it was for the best that like he still stayed. And like him and Arya were not physically intimate, but there was a lot of intimacy between the two of them.
Yes.
When they were putting face masks on each other.
I could have watched that scene for like 3 hours.
It was so peaceful. It was just like so. And then them by the fire, like making s'mores and holding hands and talking about what they want out of life. And
yeah.
I mean, when like Arya returned to Scotty and was like, well, I never said I didn't want to marry Scotty. I was like, you pretty much said you want to marry someone like Caleb, and Scotty has none of the traits that Caleb has. And like, I agree. Scotty and Caleb could not be less alike.
I know. And like one thing that I just keep thinking about is like now that she's back with Scotty, like they have this whole argument about physical touch that's non-sexual, and like how she doesn't give Scotty enough of that, and she like breaks down being like, I'm trying and whatever. And I just keep thinking about that time with Scotty and Caleb when they were like getting ready for bed or something, and like she like goes in to hug Caleb like for a really long time, and it was like she wanted to, and she was
she wanted
that
him to come in the bed with her.
Exact type of physical touch that Scotty wants, that she's like, well, it's just me, I can't do that. But it's like, no, it's Scotty. Like you wanted to do that with Caleb.
She can do that, and like even we see like she does hug Scotty,
right,
and he keeps his arms crossed over his chest and he's slouched and he doesn't hug her back. And so it's like, who wants to hug somebody that's not going to hug me back or put one arm around me when I'm really needing full comfort?
Totally.
Like who wants to give physical touch to somebody that is not going to reciprocate it? That feels like constant rejection all the time. Like
yeah. I mean, I think that type of like non-sexual physical touch, or that's how Scotty described it. I mean, I guess that's what it is. It's like, it's not just like doing it. It's tied up in like so many intricate dynamics in a relationship. Like literally how you're feeling about the person will inform your willingness or want to touch them. And like, she's not interested in doing that with Scotty.
No,
Like,
he's not a safe person.
No, and like she keeps telling herself I love him so much and I'll fight for him, and I think that's because she like is that type of person who wants to be loyal.
Mm-hmm.
But like I mean Arya, like I don't know how this is going to end, but
I
like
I don't either.
if Caleb, I think if Caleb had been more open to, I don't know, being a little outside of the bounds with Mariah, his relationship with Mariah, like I think they could have like been the closest couple. I mean, I think they actually
I
were
think
the
they
closest
were. Yeah.
couple.
Yeah.
But like I don't know, like I could see them together.
I could too. Like I'd be very surprised if it went another way. Like I'm just looking at my notes. It's like back to back we have Scotty telling Zaina, "You're painting a really ugly picture of yourself right now." And then Arya saying to Caleb, "I think we are a perfect duo." They are.
Literally. I mean, and she said like out of respect for Mariah, I'm not pursuing this.
Mm-hmm.
Which like I think says a lot. Like I think she knows that Caleb is a better match for her. Or at the very least, someone like Caleb.
Yeah,
Someone who is not Scotty.
yeah, not Scotty.
And like I just don't know. Like he's an interesting dude. Like
Yeah.
he's interesting to watch because he's so stoic in a lot of ways, but he's also like probably the most emotionally intelligent of all the men on
Mm-hmm.
the show. I think he's just like a listener.
Yeah, I think he is too, and it made me sad when Arya said Caleb is somebody that I would want in my life for the rest of my life, but that
Right.
would make Mariah uncomfortable.
Right.
So like him and Arya are not, if they're not going to be together, they're not going to be friends. And like that is really sad to me, and I think it makes Scotty sad too, but not Scotty, fuck Scotty. Caleb sad too. But because Caleb is in a relationship with someone as intentional as Mariah, he too is also like so intentional about everything and has to be
Right.
so careful. And I think
Right.
you're right. If he was with somebody who wasn't as thoughtful and that had a different experience, then he would be able to also have a full experience.
Right. And it's just interesting watching his dynamics with Mariah. Like the one bright spot we see is when they go fishing and there's lightness and you can see like that was like the one time actually in this whole thing that between Caleb and Mariah I've seen like real love.
Yeah.
So I see it and I believe it, and if they end up together, I feel like Caleb's either going to leave single or him and Arya are going to leave together. I don't think he's going to leave with Mariah though. I think he like all the things that he was saying to Arya, he was feeling like I'm falling short in my relationship with Mariah, or I feel that way all the time. Like you can see that dynamic continuing to play out in their even after his time with Arya. Like
Yeah.
nothing's changed.
No, and I think Mariah also feels like she's falling short of him too. So I think that they
Right.
just are in this cycle of feeling like they're letting the other person down, and I think that is an age thing. Like I remember
Yeah.
being 24 and I'm still in this relationship with the person I was with when I was 24, but I remember like my own like self-deprecation and like wallowing would prevent me from being totally happy or totally like
Right.
carefree with it and just trusting it was going to be okay. Because if you
Yeah.
are still on the journey of being in your younger 20s of figuring out like who the fuck you are and what you like about yourself, it's hard to love somebody else and feel like they can love you for you. And I think like Mariah is so grounded and so well spoken and she's been through so much. Like
Right.
she didn't see her mom since she was 8 years old, and she just posted on social media that her mom passed away earlier this year before they had the chance to reconnect. Like
Oh, wow.
she's
that's
been
hard.
through a lot, but she's still 24. So like wanting to be married right now is like probably some kind of trauma response to like I need to feel the most security possible.
Right.
And I need to lock this down because he's a good guy. And they're both good people, but they don't need to be married right now.
No, and they haven't even been together for 2 years.
No.
Like that to me says the most.
That was crazy.
Because like Mariah is very mature for her age, but it's like why? You know, it's not even like even the people who have been together for 3 years, I'm like, what's the rush?
Why?
So when it's like under 2 years, I'm like whoa. And it's like it's just so clear that Caleb is not ready. Like, and he's not the type of guy to say, I'm gonna get married if he doesn't mean it. Like, he's
Yeah.
not going to do it for the show. He's not going to do it. The only person he might do it for is for Mariah because he loves her. But I think I just can just see that, like, he is just not there with that. He's feeling uncomfortable about it. And I think he, like, really likes Arya. But I could see him also having trouble just, like, transitioning.
Yeah.
To
It would be
that.
hard to be back to back like this. Like, it would be.
Yeah.
And also, like,
Has anyone done this from the show in the other seasons? Has anyone left together who was in a, like, new couple?
I don't think so. I actually, like, season 2, I think every single couple got engaged, which was so fucking crazy. Like,
And are they all still together?
I don't think so. I think a couple of them are having kids. Let's see.
Okay, so some of it worked and some of it didn't. I mean, it's just like, having never seen the show before, I'm like, what's the goal here? Is it for all of the original couples to get engaged, like Nick and Vanessa? Or, like, is it to actually help these people decide some new things that
No, it's to just be a show for Nick and Vanessa. So all of them from season 2 got engaged and are still together.
Wow.
Which is crazy. And 2 of them had kids.
Oh my God. Okay.
Which is crazy. Let's see. Season 1, we have 1 are still together. 2, 3.
That's a lot.
3 couples are still together from season 1.
Well, I mean, that's like way more than this season.
Yeah.
This is how I hope it goes. I hope Caleb and Arya both leave single and reconnect later.
At the reunion.
Yeah, or maybe even, I don't know, when did they film this show? Like,
I don't know.
earlier this year, probably. So maybe even if they've already reconnected, I'm down. I think they both need a second. Then there's, like, Zaina and JR, which, like, if anyone is going to get engaged,
It's them.
Like, I think they are going to get engaged. Like, JR has essentially done a total 180 and been like, you're now going to be my wife because, I mean, what's wild to me is that they had never clearly ever talked about his past trauma after being in a relationship for 3 years. It's almost like, you know, sometimes you, like, observe relationships where you're just like, what's going on there? Like, do they even know each other?
What did they talk about? Like,
Right. And I think that's what they were. I think they were just on, like, autopilot for years.
It seems like they maybe didn't even see each other that often because I don't think they lived together, right?
No. I thought that they lived together. They definitely don't cook together.
They don't cook together.
Because JR brings scales to the steakhouse, which is wild. I just, like, have no words.
JR, you look great. Is it worth it? I don't think it's worth it.
No, like, you can have a meal where you're not weighing what you're eating. And, like, honestly, just knowing his past and how out of control it was, it's like...
Makes sense.
It makes some sense, and I have, like, compassion for him. But it is scary knowing that someone can get to that point with their, like, nutritional habits, I guess. But if you think about, like, that's what he, like, was he doing that with Zaina? Like, were they even ever going out to eat together? Like, what was going on in that relationship?
I have no idea. Because, like, were they, she's like, you know, you do have things you want. You are a man of God. And I'm like, JR prayed at his first meal with Sandy. Like, how are we just figuring out that, like, this is a big deal to him? And I don't know.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, maybe it's just going on autopilot with the other person because, like, I think Zaina is smart and interesting, but I just almost don't know if she was, like, curious about him. Like, if she was just like, okay, sure, it is what it is. I don't know.
It's weird because I think, like, Zaina was, like, pretty intelligent and insightful, I thought, especially with Scotty. And, like, I don't know. It's like... I think it's like Zaina and JR were like, we're both hot. We should be together.
Yeah. I think it's like, you know, it's like a Ken and Barbie kind of thing. Like,
right.
We physically look really good together. We both clearly like going to the gym.
Right.
We both care about our bodies. We both dress well. Like, that's
Yeah, but and then like I don't know, you can just see them how they sort of disconnected. Like JR seemed really unaffected when they recoupled with other couples. He was kind of like, well, maybe she'll have a better connection with Scotty. Like he
Yeah.
was not upset about it at
No,
all.
he even said to Sandy, he was like, kept telling her, I'm going to miss you so much. Like, I really, like, already miss you. And
Yeah,
she was like, are you going to cry? And he's like, yeah, wouldn't that be so messed up if I cry leaving you and I didn't cry leaving Zaina?
I know.
And,
And that says so much.
and we didn't talk about it, but I did notice that, like, they were the only couple that did not kiss goodbye.
Oh, I didn't notice that
Like,
actually.
every other couple said, like, goodbye and I love you as they were parting ways. And JR and Zaina were like, well, we're broken up.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like it's been kind of nice to see them like it's like it is almost like watching them date for the first
Yeah.
time and they've said as much and it's like,
Maybe
they
don't get
both have
engaged.
the capacity to like be there for one another, I think in the ways. And when I said JR is simple, like I mean it. I
Yeah.
think he wants someone who like he has pretty patriarchal views of relationships and I don't love that, but it is what it is. Like he really talked about Sandy, like the part where he was like, "Now I have to give you back." I was like, we don't like the property talk."
Well, yeah, when he was like, I'm going to let someone come in here and talk to my wife, I'm like, well,
Right. I
it is
know.
her ex boyfriend of literally 2 days. And like,
Right. It's so it like I don't like that, but
hmm
he wants to feel like the man of the household, but he also wants someone who will just kind of like hear about his past and let and like talk about that. And it's like it's still so wild to me that him and Zaina have not had that conversation. But
yeah.
like when she did ask him about it and we watched it, like she really listened to him and
hmm
she really took it in and he really appreciated that. Like
Yeah,
I think that's
definitely.
kind of like all he needed to be like he keeps saying like, "Oh, Zaina, you're such a good person." And
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, she is a good
she
person.
really
And
is.
like, you probably knew that somewhere before, but like now you're able to really like see that and express that to one
hmm
another. Like for them, it's almost like they needed this experience to just express themselves to one another.
Yeah, it had to be almost like forced out. And I think,
Right.
that's the kind of couple that this is good for. Like
Yes.
it is good in this way.
Yeah. And like, do I think everything's perfect with them? No.
No.
But I feel like if they got engaged and, I wouldn't be surprised if it did like kind of last forever for them.
Because sometimes it's like good to just not ask questions, you know, like,
Yeah.
like it's just like, you don't always have to know exactly what's going on with
Right.
everybody.
Yeah. And I think like Zaina wasn't too jealous of what went on with JR and Sandy. And nor should she be, really. I don't know. I mean, I have a different read on it. I felt like, yeah, they like kissed a little bit, but it wasn't like hot and heavy by any means.
No, it really was not. It was like it was
It was
very
PG to the max.
it was almost like because they could, like it
Right.
was like, yeah, we're here, so we might as well kiss. Like he said to Zaina, like, I wasn't coming here if there was gonna be boundaries, and then it's like, well, you didn't really push them. So
Right. I mean, I think if Sandy had given him the okay to have sex, like he would have.
yes,
But
of course.
I
But
don't think she was giving him that energy. So,
no, and that was like, it was interesting that she mentioned that she's made the choice not to be physically
yeah.
intimate with Nick when she got back either.
Yeah, I think that in and of itself is like her being like we're done.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't need any reasons to stay in this toxic situation. Like I think it's going to be over. I thought it was so back to Arya meeting her brother.
Yeah.
He seems like a good dude. He did not like Scotty like at
No.
all.
He was
And I
like,
was like that is a major red flag.
when like someone who doesn't have a relationship with their father says to their sibling, your partner reminds me of dad, that is like
Tough.
the worst thing that you can say.
Right.
That
It
is the
was
worst thing you
really
can say.
not good. So, yeah, I mean, that's everyone, right?
That's everyone.
So, our predictions.
Yeah.
What are your predictions? Because I've said mine.
I think I agree with you that I think JR and Zayn are most likely to get engaged.
Right.
I think Sandy will leave single. I think Nick will wail in the limo on the way out. When it just said wailing, I was like, on the subtitles.
He'll be wailing.
He'll be wailing. I think Caleb and Mariah will both be single too. And I think that Mariah even would agree with that result. Like, I
Yeah.
think she's ready to be single too. Scotty and Aria, I just pray to God they break up. I cannot watch them get engaged.
No. I mean, I think the show would have tried to make Scotty look a little bit better
Yeah,
if they were going to
probably.
get engaged. Like, yeah, I mean, like you said, Arya is just like completely different. Like, I didn't really like Arya at first, and then she was with Caleb, and I was like, who is this person? I love her.
Yeah. No, I was like, where did she come from?
And then immediately it's back to like, I like her more the second time around because I've seen the stuff with Caleb, but you can just see like she's just having trouble like moving through life when she's with Scotty. And that just like says it all, you
Yeah.
know? Like if they did get engaged or whatever and they're watching this back now, like it's over.
Yeah, it has to be like, even if it's not for how he treats you, like
Right.
seeing the way that he spoke to another woman would be like, oh,
Game over.
yeah, game
Yeah.
over.
And Arya is like a very intelligent woman.
Yeah.
Like yeah. I mean, I have to say that like I like a lot of the people.
I do
I like a
too.
lot of the women, and I like Caleb.
I do too. And I like JR. Like, I think there's something
Right.
about him that, like,
Right.
I think he'll be like a fully formed man and at some point, and I do really like him.
I do too. And I think that I think he's on, like you said, he's awkward and he's like a little bit hesitant to open up. But when he feels safe to open up and feels like he can share, like he will.
He will.
And that's beautiful. And I want that for him.
Me
like,
too.
He's had such a difficult life. Like it just broke my heart to like hear his story and like go you JR.
He's done
you
a
were
lot
the
of
hottest
work.
guy in that cast.
You were. And you worked hard for it.
Yes, you did.
You worked hard for it.
And we got to see your get readies with me, so we know. We know.
I bet you smell great. I'm very happy for you. I bet you smell
your
great.
butthole smells like sunshine. Okay, so this is hopefully you're listening to this before you watch the last episode.
I hope so. Or
The
you're like,
Ultimatum. We're probably wrong about everything.
oh God. And like, what's so sad about the situation is like us being wrong is like dire. Like
Oh
us
yeah,
being
no, it's
wrong in
really
this is,
bad.
like, oh, they're in danger. Like,
Right. It's like Scotty cannot be with anyone.
no, he needs to be in jail. And like, I don't believe in mass incarceration, but like solitary confinement for this man. He does not deserve to roam free.
He's like, I don't know. It's just not cool how he spoke with anyone. And it wasn't just one woman, it was everyone.
Everyone.
And you just sort of knew it was coming with Zaina, and then it happened.
And then, yeah.
And it was like, okay, it all comes out. And I'm so glad Zaina was like, fuck this shit.
She was like,
I am
absolutely
leaving.
not.
Yeah, absolutely not. Okay.
Before we move on from the ultimatum,
Right.
just want to share some news kind of from my realm of the legal field.
Okay.
So I'm a labor and employment attorney, and my colleague Adam sent me this article that the labor board has classified Love is Blind contestants as employees. Oh. Which is going to change everything about reality TV and how people are paid to be on these TV shows and the protections that they get from being on these TV shows.
Do they get like health insurance?
Not every employer has to offer health insurance, but I bet these production companies are big enough that they will have to, or
And
they'll
like-
be employees of Netflix, and then they're a big enough company where they have to offer health insurance.
Okay.
I guess previously they were offered a stipend of $1,000 a week, but if you film somebody 24/7, they are
Yeah.
essentially working
Yeah.
the entire week for way, way less than the minimum wage. So they will either have to change the filming schedule or pay these people way, way more money to have them
Wow.
contained in these spaces for the entire time.
Well, that will be interesting.
It'll be
They'll
very
probably
interesting.
have way fewer people per season.
I think fewer people and fewer seasons because it'll apply to the
Right.
ultimatum. It'll apply probably to The Bachelor because it's a very similar setup.
Whoa.
It's all of these reality personalities can now challenge the way that they're paid to be on these shows.
Oh my God.
So it's going to change the reality TV industry. If it, it's just the labor board saying it can get struck down. But right now, that's a big change that I'll be keeping an eye on.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well,
intersection of all my
really
interests.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Wow. Well, you know what? Like, even if it means less of the shows that
That's
I love,
okay.
like, people need to be compensated for their time.
I agree.
Even if they're quote unquote electing to do it, like, there's no way those people are like actually able to do all the work they need to do for their real jobs and what else.
No, if I'm like Mariah and Caleb's employer and I'm watching them both with their laptops just having a huge fight for hours, like I'm kind of like, huh?
Caleb's laptop looked like some like scary code.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
Like, and like Mariah,
there's
you could tell
no way he's
slack
getting
up like
anything done.
No. And like everyone fights with their employer while they're at work because we all work from home with their significant other at home, but I'm not being filmed. Like
No. Okay, so let's talk about Love Island Australia because we just spent like an hour talking about the Ultimatum. There was a lot to cover.
There was a lot to cover. I mean, movie night part 2 was like the most interesting episode, and then it kind of just like...
Right. I think the things that I want to talk about is the controversy between Dylan, Sophie, and Zane after movie night. Because I'm curious to unpack that with you. And then, I mean, potentially that's it. Maybe some of the revelations from the audition videos.
I'll just air my gripe out about those early. Fights that are based off of the audition videos are literally so fucking stupid because everyone is just saying something to get on the show, which is what Sophie said. Like, I was just playing up the story to get on the show. Or like, if you actually believe that this show works, they are a changed person because of their relationship with you. So like all of these idiot boys watching it and getting each other all riled up, being like, wow. Taylor being like, I thought what Hannah said was bad. That's terrible what she said, Dylan. Like, shut the fuck up, Taylor. Also,
Taylor.
Of course, Taylor has a problem with body count. We should have known.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I guess I do want to talk about this. I don't know.
Of course. Like, Hannah's not my favorite person.
No.
But Hannah did not say anything remotely scandalous. She said, I'm not an angel.
Yeah.
And Taylor, like, there's so much shit going on with Taylor that is just like it's not said, but it's just like he's just not the dude. And it's just like, Taylor, shut up. Like, you cannot hold Hannah to whatever standards you want. Like, it doesn't matter who she is or whatever. And all of these women, I mean, the thing that I'm learning from Love Island Australia is like the patriarchy is like even more alive and well down under.
It's like really prude there. Like even
really bad.
Even Mimi, who's like been so progressive, being like women should just have a pact to lie about our number.
I know.
I'm like,
I was like, Mimi, stop.
What?
Don't say that.
Who cares?
She's like, every girl should just say 10. And it's like,
who cares?
Why are we protecting these fucking dudes who literally have slept with 90 women, which is disgusting.
So many women.
And then they're like, oh, you've slept with more than 10 guys. I can't handle it. Like, get out of here.
No,
like,
that is a reoccurring theme with Dylan. And like, that's how he feels. Like
Yeah, that's actually how he feels.
Sophie was right. You're insecure about what happened with Zayn. You don't like that part of my past was here and you can't get past it. And like, she's 100% right. Like, he will not be able to get over the fact that he knows someone who has slept with her. Like, that is something that he cannot get past. And it's like, who gives a shit? It was before you were here. All of this.
It was Zayn.
It was Zayn.
Like Zayn has 0 brain cells.
Yeah. No brain cells. And like, it does reflect that you're insecure. If you're so hung up on the fact that she's had so many other people before you, it's because you know that you are not good in bed and you can't stack up against them. And so,
I mean,
maybe work on it, Dylan.
Dylan sucks.
He sucks.
Sophie is also like so frustrating to watch.
Yeah.
Like, she's such a 22-year-old.
I know.
Like, it's just this whole, okay, so the whole movie night thing where it's revealed, like Zayn pulls Dylan aside before movie night to tell him we did everything but have sex, which was more than a drive-by
A
or
touchy.
touchies or whatever. So Dylan's going in with this information. They didn't even show or anything really scandalous at movie night, but Dylan then proceeds to reveal and say in front of everyone, like, you sucked Zayn's dick.
Yep.
And Sophie, like, everyone loses their mind. Like, it becomes this huge thing. Like, I don't think it was that big of a deal.
I get it because I think he said you sucked his dick and he ate your pussy. So I think
okay.
because it was a little bit longer than you sucked his dick. Like he said two things there.
Right. Okay.
So I think it was also like Dylan was sitting on this information
right.
and kept smirking at her and kept like shushing her and was like sitting there like an evil villain the whole time and was like waiting to reveal it.
Right.
And then his apology being like, oh, I was caught up in emotion and that's why I said it. It's like, I actually don't believe you. You were so pissed. You were embarrassed because I also think that Sophie, not so discreetly, has been sucking Dylan's dick.
Yes,
I
100%.
think he's so embarrassed that this has happened with two different people. And like,
yeah.
Get over it, Dylan.
Yeah. I mean, Dylan was not a saint by any means of thing. And with Sophie, I think this whole like, she started to be like, she just sort of like rewrote the narrative from there. It was like, oh, well, I was just trying to say what happened in my own way. And it was like, no, Sophie, like you just lied.
Yeah.
Like, and that's okay. Like, you didn't want to say it. You didn't think Zayn was going to go and tell him.
Yeah.
Like, it could have stayed between you two and Zayn fucked up.
Yep.
So really you should be mad at Zayn.
Yeah.
And like she was a little bit, but then she turns it into this, well, like, no, I'm the victim because I'm the one who like said whatever. And it's like, sure, I don't know. Like these intimate details are what they are. This is where I'm like, it is a reality TV
I know.
show.
I think it's like you can't expect it to not get out, but I think what you can expect is that the person you're coupled with is not going to be the one to reveal it in front of everybody.
Yeah.
And I think it was more like embarrassment that like Kayla and Hannah were laughing at her and like all the guys were laughing and it didn't feel like anybody backed her up and she was just kind of like sitting there by herself and like you know, Kayla and Hannah being the pick-me's and like running over and be like, you didn't do anything wrong, Zayn, and Dylan, like you handled yourself so well, like oh my god, like
oh my god, yeah.
I think it was like all this compounding stuff and like the embarrassment that he subjected her to, when like he and her are also doing the same thing in the villa and they're just not saying it.
Sophie was more upset when Dylan said you look stupid than she was at the prospect of losing Dylan.
Yeah.
Like that's the other way where Sophie's really showing her age and maturity a little bit is like she's very concerned with how the public and anyone sees her. Like she doesn't want to look stupid. And that trumps like any sort of feeling she has for Dylan. I just like don't. Their whole thing is like, I do think like Sophie's being a little bit sketchy like this whole time. Like, I think that she did like Zayn more the whole time. And I think Dylan's like a convenient person to help her stay there. And she's just like, I don't like her like trying to play the victim all the time. Like there are things that were done that shouldn't have been done. Like, yeah, Dylan shouldn't have said all of that shit. Like, it was graphic. It was unnecessary. He could have handled that in a much better way. Zayn shouldn't have aired their dirty laundry when they clearly agreed not to talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, that to me was like a bigger breach of trust, I think. But I don't know.
I think it's like the thing about these men in this villa that has been like endlessly frustrating is they do want to make the women look dumb. And I think it's like this was like a culmination of it where it's like, why am I going to do these intimate things with either of you? And you're both going to promise not to tell. But because of bro code, you're going to tell. And because Zayn, you want to save face. Like you don't want to get caught in a lie. So you're going to beat me to something that you know I didn't tell Dylan because you don't want to look bad. And so it's like these men.
And Zayn gets off scot-free.
He does. And Zayn almost had such a good point where like it's almost like feminism in 2010 where he's like, you know, and because I'm a guy, it's like sick that happened for you. And because she's a girl, it's almost like it's worse. And it's like, we're so close, Zayn. We're so close.
That was a moment of like, oh, so there's a light on in there.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's true. Like, Sophie's getting shamed for something that she shouldn't be shamed for.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I guess when I said at the start of this conversation, I just don't think it's a big deal. It's like, I really don't think it's a big deal that she's been sucking Dylan's dick every night and that she sucked Zayn's dick and that he ate her pussy. Like, I don't think it's a big deal.
I don't think so. I don't think so either. I just think like in the context of this villa where like the men are all prioritizing each other.
Right.
Like none of these men really give a shit about the women that they're with. And and I'm including all of them. Like
every single one. No, the men are terrible.
They're terrible.
With the like minor exception of Mercedes.
I don't even know though. Like
I
don't even know. And like I feel like M said things that were good about him in that video, but I feel like the way that all of them, including Mercedes, were like piling up on the girls when they were watching those videos of their auditions to make the guys feel like, oh, this is such an ick. I can't believe she would act this way. That's so crazy that she would act this way. Mercedes was also participating in getting the guys riled up. So like they will throw the women under the bus for their friends any day. And it's like, girls, you are not safe with these men. And like,
no.
I know they're all broken up because they've been revealing that, but two people.
Thank God. I mean, like you said, like at the start of our recording, that like you're just kind of losing interest. Like I feel the exact same way.
Yeah.
It's like because at this point in a Love Island season, you need to have a real love story that you're tracking, that you want to somehow make it to the end. Like in the last season of All Stars, it was like, is there hope for Callum and Molly?
Yeah.
Like, there really wasn't. But, like, we were all just looking for hints. I'm like, I don't really like anyone left in the villa. Like, even the women, I'm not really that psyched about anymore. And, like, I'm not rooting for anyone. So I don't even care who wins.
No, and, like, I think they're last minute scrambling to try to give us a love story with, like, Kayla and Eric. Like,
oh, yes. What
like, they're saying like I'm falling for you. They're clearly having sex. Like they're just trying to, and like their videos, like, you know, they resolve their conflict quickly. They're trying to force this love story late because I think they realize that they blew it. Like that they did not cast people who were right for each other, and there's not a single viable couple that now this guy Eric, like who came in literally 3 days ago, has a chance to win this entire fucking thing. Like
because he's like the only kind of decent dude, honestly. I mean, it's like when Zayn is your number one guy from the jump, like I still mourn the loss of Indigo.
I know. And Kane.
What those boys. Those Wharfies. What were they? Wharfies?
I think
I want them
Taylor's
back.
the Wharfie, but they're tradies.
Oh, I hate Taylor. Like, these men are so immature. Like, Steph, I'm sorry, he's a fucking caricature of a French man.
Oh, I think it's different when women cheat because women can't separate sex from emotion. Oh my God.
And at this point, I'm like, Mimi, I like you a lot, but like if you're not going to separate yourself from this douchebag, like I don't know what to say. Like maybe it's because like there's really no other options in here.
Yeah,
like,
it's go home or be with Steph, I guess.
It was just like the most immature men ever, and like, you know, I came to love Tommy in the end, but like that dude was not there for a connection either. It was too much fun and games.
Yeah, he needs to be like one character among other more mature men.
Right.
Like it cannot be that Tommy is the most viable dating option out of this, because even like Nico, who I think we're supposed to believe is like a matured viable option, it's like he has a girlfriend. And I don't care if he's like able to tell Mia that, oh, we've just been fucking for 2 years. You are like, this girl's
totally platonic. It's been 2 years.
You are this girl's terrible boyfriend. Like, just because you don't consider yourself her boyfriend, you've been fucking her for 2 years. You're
He's
her
like,
bad
oh,
boyfriend.
she's going to be upset, but it doesn't matter. And Mia's like, okay.
So stupid.
And Mia's an idiot. Like, I don't like any of these women. I mean, Em and Mimi are like,
If I hear
decent.
period one more time, I'm gonna kill myself. Like I cannot. I can't do what's giving. And I know I sound like a boomer. I understand. I'm trying to have fun too. I get it. I'm tired.
I can't do the
though.
giving thing either.
I can't. I'm tired.
I'm almost tiring of It's Crazy. I know we even say that, but like, I do love that Leah Kateb lives on.
I know.
In Love Island, Australia this season, like, because she coined that in a. She coined the delivery of that's crazy.
That's crazy.
In a way that like literally everyone's doing.
I know. And how much do you miss them? Because it's like,
oh, I miss them so much. And you know what it was with that season that kept me going? It was the Leah and Rob potential love story.
and Cordell and Serena and like
yeah, and like act the real love stories.
the
going
men
on
like
too.
the men like kind of blew it at Casa Amor, but they earned their way back. And like now Miguel and Leah are like really in love, and like Cordell and Serena are really in love, and Janae and Kenny are in love. And we're I mean, and I got from Australian news a spoiler of 2 Islanders who have reconnected post Island from Love Island, Australia, and it continues to be a fucking mess. Like,
Wait,
do you
want
want to know?
Say it?
Okay, go ahead.
This is a spoiler alert, everybody.
Go ahead, like what, 20-ish seconds.
Right.
Mimi and Dylan.
Stop.
Doesn't that kind of show that Mimi's feminism is a little bit not all there?
Yes, it does. And it means that the vibes that I was picking up on in Hotel Amor were real.
Yep.
Like that was real.
No, that was real. They should have just gone for it. For all it got them, they should have just gone for it.
Oh my God. Like they could have that would have kept me
That
watching.
would have been the story.
That would, and they were I think that's why the whole Hotel Amor thing happened.
Yeah.
I think they were trying to make that happen a little bit.
Because if Dylan and Mimi had gotten together,
Sophie and
Zayn would have been together, and that would have been our top 4.
Oh my God. Although Zayn doesn't, I don't know. I don't think Zayn could have ever made it to the end. Like,
I said, lights
his
off.
parting words from the villa was, I want a girl who makes me laugh and who has a good body.
And Jade's like, just sitting there smiling.
What the? Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. I'm obsessed with that. Is there anything else that's come out about Xanthi and,
Not
what's
that
his
I've
name?
seen.
Taylor?
Not that I've seen.
I don't want that to be real, but I'm just sort of curious.
I'm expecting it to be real. I don't know what. It's hard with Australia. We kind of like lose track of them after, but
Right.
we're following them all. We'll see what they post, and
Well, I'm hoping that it'll all be done in like 3 to 4 episodes.
I think it'll be over soon. Oh,
yeah.
We could talk about Hannah. Oh,
Hannah
she did it.
Hannah has never been more excited to tell the whole villa that Nico thinks she looks like Margot Robbie.
And she doesn't. She's just blonde and Australian. She does not look like Margot Robbie. Nico, to his credit,
Right.
was so clearly talking in the past tense about Hannah.
Right.
He saw at movie night that he had real feelings for Hannah, and she was talking about Taylor from like day 2.
Right.
And so he was expressing frustration that she was kind of it for him. She was like the whole package. He told them he
Right.
wanted a girl that looked like Margot Robbie, whatever. Hannah interpreted that as current day Nico still has feelings for me. And it's like,
And by the way, I'm going to go straight to his current girlfriend
straight to her.
and tell her all about it because I want her to know that he said that I look like Margot Robbie. Like literally, I think that's what she wanted.
Yeah. Because she wants people to like, you know, it's
Worship her.
like, yes. And put her on this pedestal of like, you know, be like, oh, sometimes people say I look like this, but I don't really think it's true. It's like, shut up. You know, it's true. Like,
She is so despicable. I'm like, do people really like her? Like, how can you like that?
I don't understand. She goes out of her way to like misinterpret stuff as being a compliment towards her. Like it even happened with the clip where Taylor in his pre-interview was talking about a girl that he was interested in.
Yeah.
And the producers clearly wanted her to take away from it that like, oh, Taylor said his type was M because he likes
Right.
he doesn't like girls that just wear dresses and heels every day. And you could be a smoke show, but I'd rather someone in baggy jeans and cool style. And Taylor and M is kind of waiting for Hannah to react, and Hannah's like, "Oh, that's great! Like, I think he's like talking about someone like me." And it's like, Hannah, the producers are trying to tell you your style is bad, and that Taylor finds you basic, according to his pre-interview, and she just totally missed it. Like,
this is where. What's the name of the commentary guy?
Oh, I don't know, but I love him.
The Australian Ian is like. I love when he's like, and Hannah, I don't think she knows what's going on. I also was literally laughing out loud at the part where Zayn and Shade were talking to each other about, oh my God, what was it? It was like, oh, he hiccuped. And she was like, bless you.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, I don't think you say anything. It was like the dumbest conversation ever. And there was like a cat lurking around.
And the cat
he was narrating what the cat was thinking, was like, please get me away from these stupid people.
This is animal torture that I have to listen to this conversation.
I must be a bad cat.
I must be a bad cat that I have to listen to this conversation. That was so funny. The dumbest conversation, though, was when Kayla, Hannah, and Mia were talking about where Eric is from. And Eric is from Argentina.
Right.
And they say, where's Argentina? It's in Brazil? Oh, yeah. So what language does he speak? No. Brazil is South America.
Oh, my God.
So he's from Argentina? So what language does he speak? Spanish? No. Spanish is Spain. Oh, he speaks Colombian.
Oh, my God. What is...
Do not tell me Americans are dumb. I don't want to hear this whole, like, America's so stupid. They can't find anything on a map. I don't want to talk about that because this shit...
Go to Australia.
Go to any of these other shows. We all put our dumbest on these shows. So do not tell me that America is dumb.
Right. Agreed.
I mean, we are, because 50% of this country voted for a rapist, but, like, dumb about facts.
I'm like... Yeah, it's been kind of unreal, actually, some of the commentary, just like everyday conversations, like, you people, none of you have brain cells.
And like, I'm not trying to say I'm like incredibly smart or anything, but this mind never stops running. Like, must be nice. Like,
right. Must be nice to just like, well, I was actually just thinking when I was watching today, I was like, they're not allowed to like read books or do anything. Like, so unless they're like, all they're doing is literally sitting on beach chairs, like staring at the sun.
Yeah, no, they're just cooking out there.
Right. And like, they're not doing anything, and they're all okay with it, it seems like.
Yeah, you're like, no one is going stir crazy the way that I would. Like,
No.
I would be like putting on plays and being really weird by this point. Like, I would be losing my mind.
I would like be a chef or something. I would just be like
Yes.
cooking all day, or like doing something to like do something. Because
That's why, I mean, they look great all the time. Like,
right, because they just gym.
The only activities you have are gym and makeup and hair. And I, like, honestly would love to spend a couple of days with those girls and have them teach me how to get ready. Because
oh my God,
they look so good. Their makeup lasts so long. Their hair lasts so long. And I know it's humid as fuck in there. So I want to spend 3 days with them and just get ready and learn everything.
But not like 30.
No, not 30 days. I'm 31. I'm tired. I can't sleep in a room with everybody. Like, No.
Okay, so that is our recaps for this week. Those are our recaps, rather. So we are taking a little break for the holidays.
Yeah.
We will be not releasing episodes Christmas week or New Year's week, but we will be back on January 8th will be our next episode. And so we'll finish up whatever happens with the ultimatum. If there's a reunion, like I imagine the reunion will probably air like sometime later in January.
I haven't seen an announcement yet.
Right. It
Let's
definitely won't be before we next record, but we will talk about like the finale and all that.
I don't think so either. Yeah.
And then Australia will be done by then too, so we'll talk about how that ends up. And it sounds like we have what was the new show that was coming up? There was just one thing that's starting on January 13th. Oh my god.
Oh, All Stars, Love Island All Stars.
Love Island All Stars,
If
which
that comes
I
to
really hope it's amazing.
I hope so. I'm just looking forward to the cast.
Yes.
We will have Grant's cast next time we record, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, there's actually going to be a lot. My friend Leah did recommend Married at First Sight.
I know.
Have you ever seen it?
I have never seen it, but I know that there's like seasons and seasons and different countries. Like,
Right.
yeah.
It's apparently pretty wild. So if we're looking for something to fill time, which it seems like maybe we won't be, that might be.
Yeah, we'll touch
interesting.
base over the time. But I think we'll be busy.
It will be busy. In the meantime, thank you everybody
guys.
for being with us this year, because this is the first year of our podcast.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like really exciting to have regular listeners and people who care.
I honestly cannot believe there's so many of you that like are not related to either of us. It's honestly it's mind-blowing.
It's mind-blowing. It's so special.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, if you want to leave us a review on
please.
Apple Podcasts or whatever, I think Apple Podcasts is the only one where you can do like the 5 stars. That would be awesome. That would be great. We just, any sort of activity on there that can bump us up in their like charting and algorithms is good, because other people who like this type of podcast then can find us and hopefully become regular listeners too. That's an easy way to support us, and we appreciate it.
We love it.
We love it. And we love you.
Yeah, we love you guys.
And, happy holidays, everybody. Happy New Year. We'll be back on January 8th. In the meantime, definitely make sure you're on Instagram with us.
Yeah.
Can I Steal You for a Minute pod? We will definitely have memes after these next 2 Ultimatum episodes.
Each episode's probably going to get a dump. I mean, it's just too much content lately.
There's too much, and it's too good. So great. Well, thank you all for listening. We love you so much.
Love you.
And we'll see you next year. Yeah,
Cheers, lovers.
Thanks for listening to Can I Steal You for a Minute? Subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, and if you like the show, please leave a rating and review. Follow us on social media at Can I Steal You for a Minute pod, and support the show through Patreon at patreon.com/Can I Steal You for a Minute.